Thank you so much for tuning into this video. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and the bell if you would like weekly notifications of new videos being published. Thank you so much, guys, and let's begin. So you're here because you're wanting to know how to make your marriage work, or you're someone who's about to get married, wants to know how to make your future marriage work, or you're somebody who's wondering why all your friends and family members are getting divorced and separated. So let's begin. Now, I personally like to take advice from people who have actually made their marriage work. So I like to take advice not from people who have been separated or divorced and say, oh, we just can't meet eye to eye on things. I'm someone that likes to take knowledge from people who can prove things work, prove success. And it's absolutely okay if you feel divorce is the best option for you. It's absolutely okay if the vows have been broken, because if the vows have been broken, you don't have trust, and you can't really do anything with that. However, if your vows haven't been broken, there's absolutely everything you can do. And a lot of people do not exhaust every option. So the very first thing that I would say that's so important in any meaningful relationship, not specific to marriage, but especially marriage, is communication. If you're with somebody who is not a good communicator, then that is something that you guys need to work on. You need to help them and inspire them to be a better communicator. So instead of people sneaking around and doing stupid, silly things and wrecking their marriage, it might be better they actually communicate how they feel. And as a spouse, you have to be a very, very good listener. You have to understand your spouse's needs at all times. So I really understand my husband's needs. He doesn't like noise. He doesn't like ceiling lights. I understand that I can't really have the ceiling light on and I have to have lamps on instead, so I'm able to meet his needs. And he understands that, I have to sleep with a teddy bear. So he understands teddy bear has to be in bed. Teddy bear needs to be in bed. And there's not much room for my husband there because I'm a bit of a bed hog, but that's okay because I'm not perfect. Realizing you're not perfect is something that is necessary as a spouse. Realizing that yes, you might be generous, yes, you might be a great communicator, yes, you might really be very trustworthy, but realizing you're not perfect but expecting someone else to be perfect is a bit confusing. We are human beings. We are not designed to be perfect. We are designed to flaw. So you have to understand that nobody is well-rounded or well-adjusted at all times. You will have moments of feeling weak and they will have moments of being stronger. You will have moments of being the stronger one and helping them whilst they're going through a period of weakness. You have to remember not to allow outside factors to damage your marriage. I've seen this happen so many times where carrots have been dangled in front of people and they have gone astray. Like a bunny. You dangle a carrot in front of my little Theodore bunny, he will eat it. He won't care. He'll just go for the carrot. You have to avoid temptation. You have to protect your marriage, your meaningful relationship. You have to do everything in your power to protect that. You cannot afford to let outside people in your marriage if you actually want your marriage to work. People who allow outside external factors into their marriage are not wanting their marriage to work. You need to understand that. And trust, it needs to be there, but it's not always there. There are times where you can really trust your spouse. There are times where there are other things that play on in your mind, negative thoughts, where you don't even know if your spouse is trustworthy at that moment. Another thing that I would suggest is always plan time for each other. Be attentive towards each other. This is probably why a lot of marriages don't work out, is not because people aren't generous enough, but because people are not attentive enough. For me personally, I don't need a big, huge mansion. I don't need expensive perfumes. I don't need lots and lots of expensive clothes. Only a few expensive clothes. I don't need every single color lipstick. I'm fine with just a few. And I'm not a lavish person when it comes to materialistic objects. But what I need is some time and attention, but not too much. So you have to be attentive towards your partner. And I think if you guys can stay connected and tend to each other's needs, that is when your marriage will always work out, and where people respect their values as well, and make sure you guys are on the same page when it comes to values. You may have different interests, and that's absolutely fine. I have a lot of interests that are very different from my husband, but I make sure that I still attend to his needs as much as possible. Even if it's just for 20 minutes per day, I catch up with my husband as best as I can every single day consistently, because those are his needs and we want to stay connected to each other, and that's extremely valuable. Understand that a rough patch is literally that, and patches can be repaired, so you need to understand as well. Because you're going through a rough patch does not mean it's okay for you to do something destructive and disappoint your spouse by breaking your vows. You have to hang in those rough times and you have to pull through. Always also make sure that you have time for yourself, that you have a good social life for yourself. And I have a lot of female friends as well that I associate with. I also go to the gym independently, as well as going with my husband once a week, but the other 4 times a week I go independently, so I have some level of independence as well. And always make sure you guys are communicating where you are and who you're with as much as possible. That way there is no room for any paranoia or any suspense or anything uncomfortable there. Be very direct. Do not be afraid of saying how you feel. And this is something that I've noticed, that a lot of my friends they are quite happy to tell me how they feel, but they don't actually tell their men how they feel. And I'm sure guys probably do the same thing. People are so afraid of getting in an argument, or they think, what's the point of arguing? I've done it once before, why am I arguing again? I'm telling you, you have to recommand and state your values and remind your spouse of your worth sometimes, because sometimes their mind is foggy, it's occupied with other things. I know I've been there as a spouse. You just have to remember to re-communicate, which brings me back to communication being the most important thing in a marriage. You have to re-communicate your values to your spouse consistently throughout your entire marriage, just to remind them. It's just as a reminder. It can be exhausting, it can be draining, but if you see it that way, then you are not someone who is comfortable to be married. It takes a lot of energy, but you know what? It is so worth it in the end to have someone look after you when you're going through a difficult time, to have someone hold your hand there for you, support you all the way. That is incredible. That feeling is beyond any feeling I've ever come across before. So I am so incredibly thankful that I'm someone that I managed to meet somebody so young. I was only 23, and I managed to manifest that into a marriage. And I knew very early on, within 6 weeks of dating him, that he was marriage potential, that he was loyal, that he was honorable, and he just needed a bit of guidance. And the same thing with me. I needed to grow up too. I was so young that I needed to mature emotionally in order to keep my marriage surviving. And I needed to never ever give up on my spouse, even through a difficult time. So if I'm someone, I'm only 32 now, if I'm someone that can make it almost 5 years, plus also dating him for 4 years, so almost 9 years together, then anybody can make a marriage work. You just have to choose wisely for yourself from the beginning, and you have to do what it takes to get there in the end. So I hope that I could do a video in another 20 years or so and still be telling you guys the same information: communication, trust, time for your partner, attention, time for yourself, and don't forget, love is not being in love. Love always grows if you are a true love with your spouse. So thank you so much guys for tuning in. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'm going to catch up with you guys later.